live.
Yeah.
Should be live now. Hello, everyone, and welcome into our Valentine's, not day, but week gardening special. I'm here with Todd Farber, Garden Guy.
Good evening.
We have a lot of great information for y'all. Questions that you have asked us from Facebook. I'm making sure that everything is good here. If you're watching us live, you can go ahead and drop your questions and we will cover those to the best of our ability. But I do have a bunch of content that you have asked for this week on Facebook and Instagram. And we've created some great deliverables that can come to your inbox. And I'll give you those words that you can comment during this live video or later when you're watching it to get that information sent straight to you. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's been a rough day, but I'm here.
It's been a rough day. Why was it a rough day?
You seen that traffic on 610 and 290-ish?
No, I haven't.
I don't work over that way anymore, but we did the last 2 days.
That's true.
Ooh, it was rough. It didn't matter which time I was coming or going.
You like my Valentine's dress?
It's very Valentine.
Isn't it? It's very Valentine's. It was actually a dress I bought with one of our daughters when it was like the Barbie movie time, and I never did wear it, so now I'm wearing it tonight.
Well, you know what? You look so young. You could be going to your own quinceanera, honey.
Oh, thank you. That's really young. You have brownie points for that one.
All right.
That's great. All right. Well, welcome in if you're watching live. And if you're watching later, welcome then too. The first thing I want to start with is our garden inspiration quote segment. And this was the quote I put up, and y'all liked this one. It says, "A weed is a plant that has mastered every skill except for learning how to grow in rows." What do you think of that?
That's deep.
It's deep.
Like their roots, a weed.
Right. But that was a quote from Doug Larson, and y'all liked that. That's true. And isn't there something about a flower is just or weed is just a misplaced flower?
Yeah, so I was taught weed is just a plant out of place.
Oh, okay. So there's that.
Yeah.
I think that's true. Because sometimes you see a weed and you're like, oh, that's so beautiful. Or you see a flower and it's actually a weed. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Either way.
Well, you see a flower that's in the wrong spot and you pull it because it's taking the spot like a weed. So.
That's true. That's true. Last week we had a contest, our Garden On. Do the Garden On contest. And our winner was Kimmy Wynn Lair. She won a flat of flowers. That was cool. If you saw that, we put that on Instagram. She had a picture of her daughter putting those in with her. We will have that contest again. And when we do, I was thinking of giving away some of these books that we're going to talk about tonight. The Texas Flowerscaper, the Texas Fruit and Vegetable Gardening book, and a couple more. So that's our Garden On contest. And I will announce that sometime this week on Facebook and Instagram. This week, you should be pruning stuff. We've talked about that a lot. So that's something you need to go ahead and do because things are mostly dormant. Roses, talked about that. Valentine's Day is traditionally the day that you prune your roses.
Just sharpen your pruners and get out tomorrow because if you wait till the 15th, you're a day late.
You're a day late, and you can still do it. It's just what did Jay from Texas Gardener magazines? It's a guideline. So February 14th, Valentine's Day is the guideline date to get your roses pruned by. And you do not prune your climbing roses until after they've bloomed in the summer.
Correct.
But you prune all the others. You can listen.
But if you have dead growth in your climbers, you need to go ahead and cut that out. But there's a difference between getting rid of dead growth and pruning as you would a hybrid teas or some of your other floribundas or something like that.
Okay. All right. So if you have a climber, what should you do as far as pruning?
Well, trim out the dead growth, trim any canes that are going the wrong direction and are not going the proper way up your trellis. Mm-hmm. And then pretty much just leave it alone.
That's for climbing.
Yeah, and let them do their thing. And then like Sabrina said, once they've gone through their first blooming cycle, or if they're a continuous bloomer, then you can go ahead and prune or trim what you need to. But you don't attack a climbing rose like you would a regular rose in any way, shape, or form. It's just more aesthetically pruning the branches that are wrong, leading, or going the wrong way, or gotten too tall, that type of thing.
Okay. The next thing we talked about this again last week, is fertilizing trees, shrubs, perennials. This is a good time for that. Yes?
Yeah. I mean, so we'll talk about it later in the program. that if you've not yet gotten rid of your dead growth or trimmed yet, you don't want to be fertilizing quite yet. You've got to do all your prep work
You're
before
going to
you.
need to tell them.
Yeah.
So what do you want to tell them about fertilizing?
Wait till you get your garden up and running, and then you need to fertilize.
What does that mean? Get your garden up and running.
That means,
'Cause I don't understand.
okay, for the.
When should we fertilize?
Well, that's a good question, Sabrina.
Isn't
What
that
do
a
we?
great question? Can you tell me when we should fertilize? Because I was wondering about that.
I think you should fertilize. I think you should fertilize when your garden is ready to be fertilized, meaning you want to clean out your beds. You want to trim your shrubs that need trimming. You want to cut back your dead growth. You want to remove all the icky, yucky, mushy growth.
We're going to talk about mush, removing the mush.
And once you've gotten to that point and if you're doing some spring planting, once the new plants are in, then you're going to want to fertilize.
And then it's time to fertilize.
Correct.
Okay, good. Now I understand. And now everybody else understands.
My mind works in a very long loop.
All right, that's fine. We're good with that. I told y'all you should be planting as far as vegetable gardens are concerned. Honestly, you can look at the back of your seed packets. That's how we still do it too.
Sure.
There are great books out there. I'm going to show y'all one tonight. It's this one, the Texas.
Isn't that by Greg Grant?
Uh-huh.
Oh, excellent read.
Fruit and Vegetable Gardening.
Good reference book.
This is nice to have in your home library. But you can use the back of your seed packages to tell you when to plant. But I put some things on Facebook because y'all seem to like it. So things like herbs, lettuce, spinach, kale. Cauliflower comes like from a transplant.
Correct.
You would need to do that way because it's going to take too long.
Correct.
Radishes. I read English peas, maybe, if that's something you like. And fruit trees now while it's still the dormant time.
That's correct.
So that's just a veggie garden planting kind of synopsis.
But because our climate is so mild, Sabrina, I think there's a window of opportunity there that I think people look on the back of their packages and it shows from this date to that date. But I don't foresee that if you're a day or two or a week late from what it says on the package, it's too late to plant a particular seed.
So when it comes to planting vegetable seeds in zone 9, you would say that we have a wide, let me run that again.
I don't think you should be afraid to plant just if the package says you're past your planting date.
How do you know when to plant your seeds in zone 9? Use the back of the package, but don't let it be like the law.
Correct.
Would you say that? Because we have such a long growing season, you were saying.
I think you stick your index finger down in the soil, and if it's warm enough, it's time to plant a seed.
Yeah, try. Give it a try.
I know I'm being kind of facetious, but I'm not. If your soil has warmed up enough, it is time to put your seeds in.
Yeah, but there's some things like cauliflower needs to get in soon because it's going to bolt and get the cool seeds.
Yeah, no, those need to go in pretty quickly. But
we have a lot of, what is the word I'm looking for? Leniency. There's just a lot more play here because it stays warmer longer, right, with the seeds.
So,
except for stuff that bolts.
Correct.
Cauliflower is what I thought, or broccoli.
So what I've heard over the years from many, many, many clients is people get afraid to plant.
You're talking about veggie seeds.
Veggie seeds, and they think they missed their window. It's unless you're doing it for a living, it's all experimentation anyway. What's going to grow and what's not.
And more and more garden on.
More and more your personal preference and what works well for you. That maybe a certain seed works better for you in a raised bed than sowing directly into the soil.
Sure.
It just depends. And so
and it makes it fun if it's an experiment.
As gardeners, we all like to experiment. I've not met anybody over the years that's like to play in the dirt.
That doesn't like to play in the dirt.
That everything's a trial and tribulation.
So garden on, right?
Garden on, America.
Garden on, Texas. Yeah, garden on, Texas. There is a wide berth of opinion on the internet in the horticulture and gardening world, just from my personal observations. You are either on the team of Garden On, which is us, or you're on the team of one particular lady. I don't remember her name, but I think this is funny. She decided it would be great to tell us on Facebook that her mother said you do not do any pruning or anything until after Easter. Okay.
After Easter, people, you've missed your window of opportunity.
We think it's too long, but if you're
But
watching
hey.
this, whoever you are, okay. But the best part about this, guys, is she also got on our YouTube channel, which I don't even know. We just kind of have one. There's nothing going on there, and she put it there too. So here's the thing: if your mother said after Easter, then you do that. But we're not conservative when it comes to gardening. We're more, I guess, liberal, you could say, and we're like, let's go, let's garden on. Let's prune it. Because people ask us, should I prune now? And so I've been very conservative about what I say. I say, we have pruned. Todd has pruned. He's been actively installing new landscaping for clients now for over 2 weeks.
We make our living being proactive and
so
not being afraid of the next freeze that
Right.
may not even come. And so
what I say to people is, this is what we're doing. We're more
Right.
garden on. But if you are a team, I'm waiting until Easter, then you do you. And I mean that. I mean, there are many opinions. This is
Correct.
ours.
Mhm.
You can do what you want. We will give you our opinion, and you don't have to agree with it, and you don't have to do what we say. But if you ask for our opinion,
Right.
I'm going to give it to you. Let's talk about mush. So this is one. So obviously there's lots of opinions out there. Should I trim this, trim that? I don't know. That's up to y'all. I can tell you what we do. That's what we just did. But here is something that I think is a truism: the mush.
Excuse me.
What do you need to do this week?
Remove
You better
the mush.
remove the mush. Tell us why we should remove the mush.
So if you're wondering what mush is, if you've got crinum of any species, it's what's left over of the frozen fronds or stems or leaves from the last freeze. And it turned to mush, then it got crispy, and now it's just kind of baking out there. It's time to remove that. It's time to let some airflow through the new growth that's coming up through there. And you're like, well, how do I know there's new growth? You remove the mush.
Yeah, and stops the sunlight, the air circulation. It can also cause what? Disease?
You're harboring bacteria and fungus at that point because there is no airflow and it's just stagnant, and there's no reason to keep it on there any longer.
And I saw some people who said, well, just leave the mush on there because it's going to insulate, because there's going to be another freeze. I don't think that it's worth the risk.
Well, I'm putting 20 on that there's not. You want to take that bet?
I'm with you. But I think that the benefits may outweigh the disadvantages on leaving that on the plant. What do you think?
I agree.
We're still talking about mush, that you need to get rid of that.
So once again, there is no perfect science to gardening or landscaping. You do you at your house. We can only sit on the other side of this camera and give you our best opinion.
Right.
And since I'm out there in the industry, making my living doing this each and every day at different houses in different parts of the city, we're removing it. We're not leaving it. My clients are tired of leave the dead, leave the ugly. It's time to move on to spring, and spring makes people happy.
Right. That's true.
So removing that, it's also a mental boost where you feel that you've put winter behind you, and it's time, to green up, spring up, and go to
garden on.
Garden on.
So you're either team garden on with us or you're not, but it's cool. We like you no matter what team you're on.
Absolutely.
We do. We appreciate you. And you know what? It's a win-win. We can listen to your side. We can understand it. And then you can understand our side. And then we can be chilling there together in the garden. Our side will be pruned without mush and yours weren't. But that's cool too. We're good with that. All right. I'm going to go on to books for Texas gardening. So I did have someone ask, what books do you recommend? So the list, which I will release tomorrow. 1 second. The books for Texas gardening. If you want to comment below this video the word book, I can send it to you, the list.
That's BOOK.
Right. The books for Texas gardening. Now, also, if you have a great book that you love for Texas gardening, drop that in the comments when you see this video, because that helps us, but it really helps our Facebook followers, which I just want to say, we got to 4,100. Garden on.
Garden on.
All right. So if you have a great Texas gardening book that you've loved, enjoyed, or one that you'd like to get that you know is great, please comment that in this video to share with everyone else and to share with us, because, hey, we can get on Amazon and we can order it. So what I have, a short list, because we like to keep things simple. Books for Texas gardening. Someone asked me. So the first one I wrote, I don't have it with me right now. It's the Southern Living Garden Book. by Steve Bender. It's a classic. It's been around a long time. You can Google it easy or Amazon. The Southern Living Garden book by Steve Bender. It's a great one. We've used it many times.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
a
pretty
great,
to look at.
Nice reference.
All right. The next one I have is this one. I'll try to get it where y'all can really see it. This is the Texas Fruit and Vegetable. There we go. Texas Fruit and Vegetable Gardening by Greg Grant. This is a wonderful piece to have in your library. You can use it, your gardening library. You can use it to look up different plants. And he's got little stories and stuff. So this is a good one. If you want this list, just comment the word book and I'll shoot it to you. The next one, I haven't even taken this out of it. I have another one of these. This is our second one. It's called the Texas Flower Scaper. This one is so fun because I should have opened it. I should have opened it. Hold on.
It's like you're a kid. And
Look,
you get to...
This is Kathy Huber. This is fun. I liked it when the kids were younger and we were homeschooling because look at this. This is the Texas Flower Scaper. So you've got your general info at the beginning, but when you go through, it has these flaps. So especially if you have kids or grandkids, I think this, well, I know it's fun for them because they can mess with this and move this around. But there's tons of information here and it goes according to height, like tallest, medium, lowest, like that, which is neat. But you can go through and learn a lot and you can help plan your Texas flowers. So this is the Texas Flower Scaper by Kathy Huber. And we're not getting remunerated. We're just like these books. The last one I have on the list is Texas Home Landscaping. It's so glarish, sorry guys. Of 48 landscape designs and 200 pictures and plants and flowers by Roger Holmes and again Greg Grant. So I think this is a nice short list. I think you can have too much information and never use it. But if you have these 4 books and you really utilize them, then I think you'll learn a lot. And this is good information for Texas because there's way too many books on Amazon or at Barnes & Noble about gardening or landscaping, or I mean, it's craziness. But these are good. And if you have a great book that you have enjoyed or that you do enjoy, please comment that because we can learn from each other, which is what we have been doing on Facebook this week. So that is what I have for that part. Now let me look back. Those are books for Texas gardening. Now, there was a big thing going on today on Facebook about fruit trees.
Oh, the fruit trees.
Yeah. So fruit trees are so, I'm not going to say they're controversial. People always want to know what fruit trees will work where I live. What fruit trees will actually fruit in Texas, right?
So are you putting citrus and fruit trees as a general category?
Yeah, just because I'm just a regular girl.
Okay, fruit trees then.
So just if something is wrong with this, y'all can just blame me. Don't blame Garden Guy. It's me. All right, so Gretchen Berner Gertz asked, what are the favorite fruit trees here? And Todd and I have an idea of things. Of course, we know kind of what works and doesn't. He knows better than I do. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to put this out onto Facebook and let y'all tell us what you believe are the best trees that actually fruit. So if you give me 1 second, I was going to hop on over to Facebook and go down to this conversation because it's really, really good. It's excellent. Uno momento, por favor. You like my Spanish?
Oh, sí.
Oh, sí. Hold on, I'm getting it.
Ayuda necesito?
Yeah, well, I don't understand that. All right. So I said, y'all comment fruit trees that actually produce for you here. Here's what I think as just a person who's been going around with you looking at fruit trees at different nurseries. Just because they sell it in the nursery, sorry, nursery people, that doesn't mean it will actually produce fruit here.
Correct.
It's not an accusation or anything, but I think it is true. And it's kind of sad because I want to be able to buy, most people want to buy a fruit tree that will work. So this is what y'all said on Facebook. This is you, not us. I've got Cara Orange. That was the only Cara Orange I had. Meyer Lemon. I get this a lot, all right? You're going to see a pattern. Meyer Lemon and Lime. We have Kumquats. The Anna and the Golden Dorset Apple. We had 1 vote for that.
Mm-hmm.
We have Turkey Figs or Figs. Fig you're going to hear over and over. Meyer Lemon you're going to hear over and over. These are the ones that y'all said actually will produce fruit here. Loquats. Those work if you eat them. Someone talked about loquat jelly. Fig tree again. Here it comes. Here's the Jujitsu, which Randy Lemon recommended. It's some sort of boutique type lemon. If you go to our Facebook page, you can look. I posted a bunch. It's really neat. It's truly cool. Richard Reeves told me about that. Fig again. We have one lady who said she had a Mexican avocado that produced tons of them in Deer Park. Okay. I would love to have an avocado tree. I would go out every day.
I think all of us would if we could grow it. So she's doing something right down there.
That's one. Park. Everybody else, what you're going to hear when I read these comments to you, or y'all can look at them here. They're on the Facebook page. Meyer lemon and fig. Meyer lemon and fig. Meyer lemon and fig. I got one peach, one satsuma, of course pecan, because Bruce Maresh is the pecan man. A satsuma again. Peaches and figs. Peaches and Meyer lemons. One grapefruit tree, and then it died. Meyer lemon, kumquat. So I'm not going to go through the rest of them. What I saw the most of, I'll repeat here at the end. Fig, Meyer lemon. If that disappoints you, if you were looking for more, I can't help you with that. I think it's nice to hear from y'all and to hear what actually works. There were people following this conversation simply because they're like, I want to know.
Right.
I want to plant the stuff that will give me fruit. So this is such a short list. So here are the fruit trees that y'all said really produce. Are you ready? Fig tree, Meyer lemon.
Meyer lemon.
So that's what y'all told us. So I'm handing it back to you, and you do what you want with it. All right. But I love that conversation. I love that y'all chimed in. If you have other trees that have produced for you here in this zone 9A and B, drop that in the comments here. And we'd love to hear from you. Ooh, let's go to nutgrass. This was about a week and a half ago because I was a little bit sick last week and we skipped our live. Nutgrass. Trisha Hamilton said, I seem to be overly successful at keeping nutgrass alive. So a lot of people chimed in. It's a horrible thing.
Probably because when you're picking it by hand, every time you pick one of the stems or stalks, you break the nut down below the soil and it spreads 3 to 4 times more than the one you see on the surface.
So if you hand pull nutgrass,
you lose every single time. Don't pull by hand. It is not a mechanical weed.
Yeah, it's difficult. So what? And most the people that commented the Facebook, our friends said,
Sledgehammer.
I wanna be your sledgehammer. Okay, so sledgehammer and then image. And if you don't like herbicides, and if you want to use, I had one lady who uses essential oils. More power to you. Nutgrass is a mess, and it's frustrating and awful, and y'all all said that. And unfortunately, an herbicide is a way. Another person, I think it was Bruce, I'm not sure who, said you can, during the summer, put black plastic
and actually kill it.
Kind of smother it. That's good, too.
And don't let your yard man weed eat it, especially in your flower beds. Because then I come along, and it's time for the client to do some landscaping. Mm-hmm. And so he was just there the day before, and you've got 1,000 nutgrass tops that don't have any substance to them because he just weeded them all. So it's a really tough situation for us trying to get rid of them within a landscape. Now, if you're really mechanically inclined, you can take your shovel and dig down 4 or 5 inches below where the nut is actually growing and mechanically remove them that way. But pulling them by hand, you're just going to break that nut down below the ground.
Nutgrass is a bad deal. If y'all have other methods, then comment them. But what we saw was herbicides. And I prefer for him not to use, and he doesn't even really treat for that in landscaping. But our personal things, I don't like him exposed to chemicals. I mean, we are willing to try vinegar and things like that. But there's some of this stuff that you just can't get rid of. Sherry Flaherty Hera said, I think about I'm going to say it wrong. I'm going to call it jujitsu. The tree that it tastes like you're biting into a piece of candy. A very interesting tree. Thanks for commenting about that. So that was the wrap up on nutgrass. It's evil, and you're going to need some herbicide to get rid of it. If you disagree, tell us what you do. We're all ears. We like to learn from you.
Absolutely.
We like to learn from you. So I had a great question.
What was that question, Sabrina?
That question was, how do I plant? No, let me try this again. Now I messed up. The question was pretty much a really, really humongous question. And it was this: how do I make a landscape bed and do landscaping? It's pretty much what she asked me. That's a big question.
Hire a professional.
fired
What?
up. But okay, so I made a handout, if you want to call it, or a deliverable. And I'm calling it the Quick Bed Prep Guide. So if you want to comment the word bed, then I will shoot it to you. We have a lot of detail in this deliverable. If you want to know the steps that he uses and the general guide on how to, go out, clean up everything, assess the area, blah, 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 and do landscaping. This is the guide that we put together. It's a deliverable. If you want it, you comment the word bed now during this video or later when you see it. So this is, and I work with him on this stuff. So this is the super short version. There is tons of detail. So if you want the information on how to actually prepare a landscaping bed, you want to comment the word bed. But go ahead and give us, baby, kind of the quick guide.
Well, first of all, you need to figure out the area in your yard to which you're going to be planting, and what are you going to be planting makes all the difference in the world.
So we call assess area.
Is that how you spell assess? That's a lot of S's.
Maybe I spelled it wrong. Oh, I did.
Hey, I'm the editor tonight.
That's asses.
Ass.
Oh, did I let them say that? Okay, I'm going to fix that. Go ahead, dear. That's crazy. Assess the area.
So
Don't assess.
So once you've assessed the area in which you're going to create this new landscape bed, then you need to remove the existing grass if it's there. If it's just blank dirt right now, then you will need to start your preparation for your soil. What do I mean by that? Every bed starts like a house with a foundation. You do not want to plant into this heavy clay soil.
So prep the soil.
Prep the soil.
Go to clear and clean.
Clear and clean any debris, anything that's left in that area that you're getting ready to plant.
Okay.
You want to define your borders or contour your borders because every bed needs an end or a means to the end.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Create the design within your bed on paper first. Know what plants you want to plant.
Mm-hmm.
Acquire the plants.
Plant them.
Plant them.
Mulch them.
Mulch them with a good heavy dose of shredded hardwood.
No dyed mulches.
Or cedar. That's what we like.
Mm-hmm.
Fertilize with your microlife. 624.
There you go.
I got it right this time.
The green bag.
And then water deeply.
So that guide is lengthy. And if you want it, you just need to comment the word bed. And I will correct my cuss word from asses to assess. Only for y'all. So please comment the word bed. I did a lot of content today, so that's pretty funny. But I did spell the word correctly now that I'm looking at it, but it would not be the correct word usage.
Right.
So -10 on that one. So you want Garden Guy's quick bed prep guide? What word would they need to comment to get that?
Bed.
Be the word bed.
1D.
1D. Okay, so hit us with that when you see this video now or later, and I will shoot that out to you within the next 24 hours. Now, another thing, we did a quick live video today. Y'all can see that here on the page, is just how to plant a plant, which I think is important. I need to see this. I need to understand it. And it's a cute video. Our dog was in it. She was trying to eat this flower, which Todd got for me. I wanted these ranunculus. And if you have never seen ranunculus,
it's quite the flower.
I love it.
It's like a zinnia on steroids.
It's fabulous. It's so bougie. Now we have
what's that word?
So bougie.
Are we on the wrong side of town for that?
Right. So we have the quick how to plant a plant guide, and you can comment the word plant if you want that one.
P-L-A-N-T.
P-L-A-N-T. So this one is easy. I'll do it real quick. You pick the location. Location.
Sun or shade.
Prep the soil a little. Kind of move things around. Today he was prepping some soil for this, and you found what? Fire ants.
Oh, fire ants.
Yeah. So you have to kill those. Dig the hole. And explain how the hole is dug and the measuring. I think that's the hardest part.
So if it's a 4, just using this as an example, it's a 4.5 inch pot. You want to dig your hole twice the diameter of the pot. Why? To give the roots a chance to spread out. So many people put the plant in the size hole that you could put the pot in, and that's not
too
right.
small. It needs to be twice as big.
Yeah, and then when you put your soil back over on top of the crown of the plant, it has plenty of room to root out.
You take the plant out, you showed me, and then you squish the roots a little bit, or you move them around.
Yeah.
And then you make sure the hole is twice as big. Put it in there and level it out, right?
Yeah.
Fill it up with good soil, water.
And deeply.
That's it. Monitor. If you want that quick guide, just comment the word plant. It's an easy one. And the video's on here too. Now, I have more. The other thing that we did this week was to teach y'all how to improve your soil, because that's a question that y'all lay on us a lot. If you want this guide on how to improve your soil, then you'll comment the word soil. Easy, right?
That's correct.
So I know a lot of times with what you do for our clients is you bring in all new enriched topsoils, right?
No, that's for grass.
That's for grass.
Premium, a
Sorry.
premium grade blended planting mix.
Say
soil.
it again.
We call it. It's called premium garden soil.
Okay, I apologize.
No, but
But for people to improve their soils without bringing in, what's it called?
premium garden soil.
Premium garden soil. If you don't do that, then we had some steps for you if you wanted to comment the word soil.
Correct.
So you want to test your soil. And if you comment the word soil, when I send you this deliverable, it also has the link that takes you straight to the Texas A&M. Yeah, soil testing.
And I highly recommend, if you want to do their soil sample kit, it's 100% accurate, and it will tell you your negatives and positives and what you need to do for your particular soil.
So that's the first step that we recommend, is testing the soil through Texas A&M. And then according to results that they give you, you amend the soil accordingly. And
Correct.
There's lots of different things you can use to amend it, depending on if you need to be more alkaline or more acidic.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Correct.
And then we recommend a natural mulch, no dyed mulches. And y'all know about that from if you watch us.
Well, heck, I like that black mulch when it comes off of my hand
Like
and you can't wash it off for 2 days.
When it rubs
Or
off.
how about this, when you water in your garden and it runs down on the street and it stains the concrete?
Yeah.
That's a good indication. You probably shouldn't have that black mulch in your garden.
Right.
Now, I know we'll get some flack on that, but that's just a landscaper's experience.
Right. Let me finish with the improving soil. So on improving soil, you're going to test the soil with Texas A&M. You're going to amend it according to the results you get. You're going to do a natural mulch. You're going to water it properly. You don't want it too wet and you don't want it too dry, because that messes up the soil. And that's pretty much the steps. Now let's go to, I haven't done this piece yet, but this is a good point that you make about the dyed mulches. So let's talk about how a person will know if they go to a mulch or soil yard, or if you could do it at Home Depot or Lowe's and you could get these bags open and you could see if it was dyed. One of the biggest tests for you to know as a consumer if the mulch is dyed is this rubbing test.
The feel touch test. The color will come off on your fingers.
And the reason I brought that up is a lot of y'all have asked me, well, you're asking him, but you're asking me because I'm the one that's managing a lot of this, and I go through him and then it comes back to you. You want to know, what mulch can I purchase just from Lowe's or Home Depot? And I get that. You want to just go in there, get a few bags, but you want the one that's not dyed. And it's not that easy to figure out. I'm still working on that for y'all, but I will say this. If you can see the mulch and touch it, you're going to know, because it will come up on your hands, the black and the red is easy to see. Also, I noticed if you are just on, I believe I was on Lowe's, you can clearly see when you look at the pictures of the mulch, they've got color choices underneath the bag. Okay, so those are out. The ones that use the word natural, you can tell, and have no color choices, those are your mulches. So they're going to be pine something, or straw something, or shredded hardwood,
or cedar. Cypress.
Yeah. So that's really what you're looking for and what you're going for. If you are at Lowe's or Home Depot, I don't know why they couldn't just open a bag and let you touch or see it, or you can flip it over and read some of the ingredients. But that's just a quick and skinny on how can you tell as a consumer just running into a big box store, is this dyed or not?
Right.
Now, if you go to a great place like Sienna Mulch, I don't think that she sells dyed mulch.
Well, she does.
She does sell them.
Yeah.
But she's very knowledgeable, and she'll direct you towards what is best. And if you tell her, I don't want, dyed mulch, then she's going to make sure to give you the natural shredded hardwood or cedar.
But don't quote me on that. I'm not sure exactly what she has on there.
I don't know. Maybe she does or she doesn't. But either way, Sienna Mulch is a great place to go, because she will direct you better, really, than a Lowe's or a Home Depot. You're going to get a much better experience, and you're going to get more knowledgeable people at Sienna Mulch, and they're going to show you the best mulch for the situation that you need. And once again, to wrap that up, we recommend a natural mulch, red mulch, black mulch, very bad. And if you want to know more about that, it's on our blog. Like, everybody visits that. But if you want to know more about it, just comment the word mulch and I'll shoot that piece out to you. And you can learn about how it leaches nitrogen from the actual plants. and that the dyes run off into the environment. That should be enough for you. And if you have a dog like ours, we have a puppy, dude, she's always eating mulch. The last thing you want to do is let that puppy eat red dye.
Yeah, right.
So that's the end of my tirade on the mulch. So we'll know more about mulch. Say the word mulch. Now we have people asking, I don't have to go to the person's name. I had a lady ask, how do I plant tomatoes and what are the best ones? Now I have a challenge for y'all. Comment the tomatoes, and I'll make this a post. Comment the tomatoes you'd have the most success with here, because there are tons of varieties. Would you say, now this is just a pop question. Would you say that if I'm an average homeowner and I go up to Lowe's or Home Depot when they start getting the Bonnie like tomatoes in,
Right.
would you say that they carry the ones that work best here?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I thought that was a good.
No, I would say that. Bonnie brings in stuff that will grow here.
That grows here. So we like to try lots of tomatoes. I think you can kind of go hog wild with it, right?
Are you a celebrity type of girl or a better boy?
I have you, dear. Obviously, I'm a better boy.
Oh, okay.
I think on my feet. All right, Garden Guy's quick tomato guide. I did spell all this one right.
Yes, you did.
If you want the tomato guide, comment the word tomato, and I'll send it to you once I get it all put together. So the quick tomato guide is, and there's a lot to tomatoes, so don't get me wrong. This is just like
It's a quick guide, guys.
the quick guide. The quick guide says timing.
When
do we plant it? When do we do it, baby?
When the timing's right.
Come on, man.
When your soil's warmed up enough and you feel comfortable that there's not going to be one more freeze. And
Right.
based on which way you face, do you have a fence? Are you getting north wind? All those kind of factors.
When do we usually do it? And this is up near Round Top. So like
beginning of March.
Beginning of March, maybe mid-March if we're a little.
We've tried the beginning of February, the middle of February, like now, but
maybe a little too soon for tomatoes.
And it gets cold. Not that they froze. It's just we don't live up there, and so we couldn't protect them. So
March 1st to March 15th, we would say on timing. So tomato guide. If you want the tomato guide, comment the word tomato. Variety, we talked about that.
Strictly up to you. Do you like
heirloom?
Indeterminate?
Yeah.
Determinate? Do you like a big fat plump tomato? You like a cherry tomato?
So y'all comment the tomato varieties that you've had success with here, because we want to know too. We like to know. We love to do the heirlooms. I like to do as many heirlooms. I like to find, if we do it soon enough, I like to get the seeds and try to plant tomatoes that you can't really get here, like an Amish paste tomato we did one year. So it's just fun. Comment the word tomato if you want the guide. So what we've got so far is timing, variety, location. So 6 to 8 hours of sun or more than that?
No, that's sufficient.
Okay, a lot of sun. Soil prep is kind of like anything else.
Right.
It's got to be right for the tomato itself. Plant the leaves below. Now, this is something of course, how would I know this?
Well, you're going to want to plant your tomato plant deep. Why? Because if you look up and down the stem, the little fine white hairs are really aerial roots. And if those are planted below the soil, turn into anchor roots to make your tomato plant stronger.
It's like almost like halfway of the plant.
You can plant it up to the first leaf.
Oh, that's interesting. So plant the leaves below. That's next. Then I have support as my next point.
Trellis or your wire cages or whatever it is. You don't want to wait too long. I mean, obviously, right when you plant them, they're not going to need the trellis, but they grow extremely fast and people get busy with their lives. So make sure you stake or trellis early. So
support.
As they grow, they have it.
Water, fertilize, prune. Sometimes I think you have to go in there when they start going crazy when it gets hot and maybe cut this a little bit here, trim this there, right? Keep it nice. And then hopefully you get to harvest.
And one thing I have run into, because I like to plant more than I have space for, is space your tomatoes out properly. Let them have the proper airflow.
Oh, to see, yeah, because sometimes ours get tangled up together, right?
Yeah, and then you just run into other kind of issues when they're not spaced properly.
Okay, I like it. Let's see what we've got here. Now, we have lots of people watching. This is exciting. Sandra Lawson Birdsell asked, the most hardy privacy hedges the Garden Guy likes or recommends. So tell me, Garden Guy, give me the best hardy, quick growing privacy hedge, because she has a noisy, I think, apartment complex. What do you think?
Well, for my money these days,
what do you think?
Is the Viburnum suspensum. It's got a leathery green leaf. It's full to the ground when you say grow fast, it's a moderate grower. Nothing really shoots up that high that quick.
But you like that one?
I do. It
Viburnum suspensum.
It did.
Okay.
It seemed to have survived better than some of the other viburnums through the freezes.
And you know which one and I'm not usually right on this, but I was thinking of that Eagleston holly because I love the way that looks when you put that in. But that's not really a privacy hedge.
No, it's a privacy tree.
But
well, then that's my go-to gold nugget right there.
So a second one would be the Eagleston holly. I love the way those look, and people love them on Facebook when you plant them. So that would be your second one.
Yeah, if you're looking for a higher screening
tree.
Yeah,
they're beautiful, and they don't die in the freeze either, right?
No, very few problems, if any.
Okay, so that's privacy hedge or privacy tree. Either viburnum suspensum. That's it. Blah, or Eagleston holly. Oh, here's one that he had to talk to me about forever to get me to understand. Are y'all ready for this question? Here it goes. We had a guy, and he said, can I lay St. Augustine on top of my winter rye? I think there may be a lot of opinions about this. Go ahead.
Well, it depends on your situation. If you have planted ryegrass to cover up bare areas in the fall and winter because your St. Augustine, for whatever reason, has died, then when springtime rolls around, the question was, could he plant St. Augustine right on top of the ryegrass? My answer to that is no, because you have dead grass, dead roots, weeds underneath the ryegrass that will be dying out soon, around mid-March. And so you're going to need to follow the steps to replanting regular sod. You need to till it, fill it, and replant it. Now, if you've planted ryegrass over your healthy St. Augustine grass, and you do that every year and it's always worked for you, but for whatever reason this year, the ryegrass seems to hold on longer than it should, and the St. Augustine is greening up at the same time, the ryegrass is going to choke out and kill a bunch of your St. Augustine. So brings us back to the first question. When the ryegrass finally does die out, by April, you're either going to have a very lush green St. Augustine lawn and it was fine, or you're going to have to resod some areas that the ryegrass overcame.
So what we talked about earlier over dinner, and my understanding is that what you said a couple of weeks ago still holds true. You need to till it, fill it with enriched topsoil, make sure it's level, and then you need to put down your fresh St. Augustine sod. And that's what we believe is the best way, and that's the answer on the
and by the way, St. Augustine does not come in seed.
Oh, yes.
You cannot seed St. Augustine. So whatever you've seen in a magazine or something, no.
They're pieces. So
you can get plugs, which are viable, and you can get solid sod. Now, Bermuda comes in seed and or sod.
Oh, okay.
But very important to remember, you cannot plant St. Augustine by seed.
True. And sometimes you do zoysia.
We do zoysia, but we don't do plugs. We buy it by the pallet because it's more economically feasible for us as contractors.
St. Augustine is interesting because I came from a place where I had never seen, not that I probably would have, but when I knew about grass, or what I knew of grass, was that grass was a seed and that it was thrown in the yard, usually with just a hand, because if you're just a homeowner. And so St. Augustine is definitely a different animal. And a lot of people don't know that it's in big flat pieces, which is sod, and that you can't just buy a seed or overseed your yard. It doesn't work that way, unless I guess it's Bermuda, which I don't.
Yeah, well, it's different cultivar, different practice.
I'm going to hop over to just a really quick question that someone had about okra seeds. So okra is I'll say a hot weather. It's not a very technical term, but it's for the hot weather, and your soil needs to be about 60 degrees or more.
Correct.
So you probably need to wait till end of March, April.
Look at your package, but it's pretty much spot on.
March or April. That was Kathy Hawkins Powers, and she wanted to know about okra. So just wait a little bit longer. We found sometimes with the vegetable gardening, it's better to wait a little bit longer as far as getting the soil warmer. Now, what other questions do I have? We talked about St. Augustine grass care, and that's really all that I had, unless anybody here has any
I don't
questions.
see anything.
So here are the little keywords if you're still watching this video and you want some info from us. The ones I have so far from this year. If you comment the word garden, then I will shoot you our most popular deliverable, which is Todd's favorite plants, trees, and shrubs for Houston. Comment the word garden for that. Comment the word prune to learn about how to prune the foxtail fern. Comment the word crepe for the crepe myrtle pruning guide. The word tomato for the tomato guide. Bed for how to bed prep for landscaping. And soil for the soil guide. That seems right.
Sounds good to me. Hey, is crepe CREPE or CRAPE?
So
Or
my
either or?
understanding it's either. It's either. And I go with EPE just for myself. And then I keep that as a standard as a writer across what I'm doing.
That's what I use too in my proposals.
I think I got that from you. Yeah, I try to keep it the same in the things that I write for us, but both are acceptable. So I see we have quite a few people watching, so we appreciate every single one of you. Barbara, Ginger, Sherry, and we appreciate y'all being here. So this is the end of our show tonight, and we hope that you enjoyed this information. You
Thanks
can
a lot for
comment
watching.
anything that you want afterwards or later on the live, and I will get the info to you just as soon as possible. Y'all enjoy your Valentine's Day tomorrow, and we're going to enjoy ours as well. Right?
Yeah. Garden on.
Garden on. Good night.